Okay, once you have your letters situated how you want them to be, you need to make sure to save your final. So just go File, Save. You should have already named it something, okay? And now we're actually going to go back into Photoshop. So we can close out of Illustrator for now. Okay, and now what you are going to do is you're going to go into Photoshop and go to File and Open. And you're actually going to open up that Illustrator file that you were working on in Photoshop. So you might need to search for it in Finder or wherever your desktop folder is, that's fine. Okay, so here's my file. It should come up as that orange AI file. Okay, so, but remember I'm in Photoshop right now. Okay, now when this part comes up, you want to make sure to have pages marked, not images, because if we have images marked, only that image comes up and not the text that we worked on, okay? You can leave the rest of this, just press OK. And now we're ready to move on to our next step, okay? So first thing that we want to do is we need to get rid of all of this white stuff. We can certainly do that, or whatever's around our background, just by using our magic wand tool. So click the white area, press delete. And you're going to continue doing that for the rest of it. Okay, now remember to get rid of the moving dotted lines, just go Command D. Now the next thing I want to do is I need to get all of the white spaces out from the letters. I'm going to do the same thing. This is pretty simple. If you have a small area like up here, just click a big area. Okay, now if I accidentally press the black, that's going to delete all of that elephant if I press delete. Oh, and I don't want that to happen, so Command Z. So make sure that you are clicking in the right area. Okay, so that'll take a second for you to do. Now feel free to, if those areas are kind of small, if you need to zoom in a little bit on it, you can do that. Okay. Almost done here. Okay, now to get this letter over here, I'm definitely going to need to zoom in, so I can go Command plus. Oops. I'm going to move this over. Okay. So now I'm going to delete. And we know it's working if we can see those white and gray checkers behind. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to zoom out, Command minus. Now I am going to drop a couple pictures in for my background, okay? So first thing that I'm going to do is you should already have a couple images picked. I'm going to show you guys a couple of different ways here, so some problems that you guys might run into. So I'm going to take my image, my first image here, and I'm going to drag and drop, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and Command Shift so that it stays in proportion. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Shift, just hold the Shift down, not Command. And make this a little bigger so it fills the entire paper. Okay, press Enter. Okay, now we can't see our elephant. We have to move up like that, okay? And now one last thing I need to do for this, right click or control click if you don't have an Apple mouse, Rasterize Layer. Okay, so now a couple of things I need to do here. I have to get back to my elephant layer. It's obviously a little too big, so I'm going to Command T to change the size of that a little bit. I'm going to hold down the Shift key so it stays in proportion. And I'm going to place this picture where I want it to go. Okay, so I kind of like it on there. Kind of looks like it's on a tightrope or whatever. Okay, now this is the part where you're going to have a little bit of choice in, okay? We have the black background here, but we can still see the words coming through. But you have the opportunity to change the color of your silhouette, okay? Now, I don't think that this black photo necessarily goes very well with the image that I chose. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just simply going to fill that color, that shape with a different color. Okay, so I'm going to have white on there. All right, so I've done that. Okay. And now I got to fill in any of those areas. You'll take the paint tool and do that. And I might need to zoom in on that area to make sure to get it. So, okay. All right, looks like I got it. So now we have a couple of different things here. So now that might look okay with the background that you're choosing. That's kind of up to you. But I don't like how white mine is. So I kind of want the opacity. I'm going to turn that down a little bit and watch what happens. Oh, sorry, opacity over here. Okay, so now that kind of fades it a little bit. Okay, now I don't want to do it so much that I can't see it, but I kind of like the idea that I can actually see some of that image coming behind it. Okay, so experiment with that a little bit. Another thing that you can do is notice how I kind of have this sloppy line around here. If you have a sloppy line like that that's showing up, you're going to have two options, okay? Here's the first option. The first option is going to be to actually fill that background, that shape with a pattern, okay? And to do that, you are in the paint bucket tool, and it's very similar to the gradient tool, but it's a little bit different. So up here where it says, it should probably say foreground, you click down and it says pattern, okay? Now, when I click this, there's going to be all these patterns in here. To add them, you do the same thing like we did with the gradients. And I don't think I have texture fill tool. So just press append. That'll add some different stuff to it, okay? So these are going to be different textures that you can put on top of them, okay? And a lot of these work really great, just kind of gives it more of a handwritten feel of the text. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one. And that changes it a little bit, okay? So maybe find one that you like. So let's see what this one looks like. That one's okay. I'm not so crazy about it, but I kind of like how the white is still there. Oops. Now, if you have a pattern one like this after it, notice that it's filling in every little shape. So if you don't like that one, go ahead and go Command Z right away. Then make sure you kind of have a solid fill. Then you can fill in your background. Okay. So let's see. Let's see, did I do this one already? All right, so I kind of like that one, and you can play with the opacity on that as well. Okay, but you notice how I still kind of have this, oh, and I have to make sure to fill these areas in too. Okay, I'll finish the rest of that later. Oh, I'll just finish quick. Okay, so now the rest of this, you see how I kind of have this gross edge around here? If I zoom in, you can kind of see that some of those areas are black, okay? So depending on your background and your gradient, you might, or whatever you fill it with, you might really be able to see that. So in order to not see it, what you'll have to do, and if you don't change this, you'll get docked points on that just for the sloppiness. I'm just going to take the eraser tool, go along the edge, and erase those edges. So that's one way to clean up your edges there, okay? And now we're going to see some of that. All the rest are the images coming from the background, okay? So just, and notice, just drag it along. That'll make it easier for you, okay? And you should still be able to get some of that shape. And now, oops, I forgot, it's not erasing everything. Make sure that you turn that opacity back, oops. My opacity up here needs to be turned back to 100. So that's why we can still, so now we're going to have clean edge, okay? So get rid of that little mess there. That's going to really clean up your image a lot, okay? Now, you do not just need to keep your image white. You can play with the different colors as well. So depending, the color of your image is going to depend on what your background looks like, okay? So for example, if I wanted to use this as my image, my background here, let's say I wanted to change the background, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I have this image here. So this is why it might be important to use a couple of different background choices, because you might have an idea, but then when you put it together with your text and your silhouette, it doesn't quite go as planned, okay? So need to see this whole screen. I need to move that up. Okay. So I'm going to format that to fit. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide this balloon layer for now. I'm going to rasterize that. Okay, and drag that up. Okay. So probably this white combination isn't going to be a very good choice for this background. We can't really see it very well. So that would be where you might change the color of your object, and you just do that with the fill tool. But you got to be careful, because if I had, see, now I can make it darker, but I had that pattern in there, so I need to make sure that I don't have that pattern. Okay, so to do that, you'll have to go back several times to get that done, okay? So we're going to go back to where kind of have a solid fill. Okay, and I'll show you what we can do with the color, changing the colors with our backgrounds in the next video.